I do want to caution that we are probably in the first 5-7% of AI development. AI today, they are accumulating knowledge and giving you access to it. What the real capabilities of AI should be are actually doing things in the physical space around us. Think of it as a pseudo-human, where it can see, it can hear, it can walk, it can talk. So I think we're at the infancy of what AI can be, and there's a lot more development to come in, for better or for worse.
Welcome to the show. Here, I speak with experts and experts at life in heartfelt conversations designed to help us pause, choose intentionality over hustle, and discover joy, meaning, and connection in our everyday lives.
Thanks, Sahil, so much for making the time for this. As someone who is deeply interested in solving problems so that there's the betterment of humanity, what are maybe the top two, three applications of AI that you're excited about?
Ease of access to information is one of the biggest applications that I think, uh, from a very broad perspective, it's helping everyone. And that's where democratization of technology is helping humanity, where it's not one person who has access to it, it's everyone who can have access to it. I mean, as we grew up in India, one of the biggest things was be knowledgeable. Having access to information was the moat that we as students used to have.
Right.
The other aspect, if AI is embedded in physical material around us, that's when you can actually start to see, or we will start to see, a lot of mundane tasks in our daily lives start to ease up. I think that's where a lot of investments and that's where a lot of research is also headed. But of course, before I want to ask my my vacuum to clean up a place, I want to make sure it's not going to damage some other aspect. I think that's where safety kicks in.
Right. Tell me, what are your worries about AI?
As human beings, we are trained to be lazy. I mean,
We have a tendency.
right. We want everything to come to us as easily as possible. What that creates is, to your point, a dependency on technology where we believe everything that the technology tells us. So the lines between what's factual versus what's propaganda can be blurred very well. The other aspect is, um, what we have seen in the last 20 years, what technology did, it always started with trying to bring together all different classes, whether that's economic classes, whether that's racial classes. But what it has done is it's created a lot more divide. In, and I think as humans, we need to make sure that we are responsible enough to so that it doesn't create more negativity than it already has, and then that we're already seeing in the world today.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not a bright and rosy future.
Right. You mean in terms of bias?
Bias is there, but also hate speech, propaganda. For benefit of some, many suffer.
Yeah, I guess from the macro perspective, if I was to zoom into an average knowledge worker, how do you think the work life of an average knowledge worker might change in the future?
I think people will need to be more specialized in their domains, and that's going to be your power in this market. So it doesn't matter whether that knowledge worker is in consulting or is in legal or healthcare space or financial services. What you're portraying as your strength is that domain expertise and how you interpret what AI is telling you rather than just repeating what AI is telling you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, like you're saying, AI can do a lot of things already, I guess, much better than the regular human. So, what is skill that a person brings to the table, which is why you're adding value over what AI can actually do much cheaper, much easier, much faster. The other thing is that there are so many changes that are happening in the AI space, right? Every other day, there are new models being released with better capabilities. So, as somebody who's not in the AI space, what can one do to be on top of the developments, because otherwise it can be super overwhelming if you just want to keep tracking today this model, tomorrow that model. And not just about being, I guess, AI literate, but in some ways AI effective. How do you do that if we're not in the AI space?
So I'll tell you something. So many of our customers have told us, and many of our friends in leading positions have told us that even if all the big AI models shut down today, they still have 10 years worth of work ahead of them because of the possibility that they can see with the current development itself. And the reason I bring this up is I don't think any single person or even a small team is capable of being up to date with literally every AI development that's happening around the
Yeah.
world. I think the way to think about this is understanding what is the problem you're looking to solve, whether that's for your personal problems or whether that's a business problem. And then figure out whether these generalist AI models are even suited to solve the problem for you. And if yes, then look at it as a technology to solve that problem. Don't look at it as the solution itself. Look, point being, you should like focus on the problem rather than I want to know everything in AI. I don't think that makes sense.
The more I sort of hear about conversations on AI, it becomes more and more obvious that, like any other technology, it really depends on how we are harnessing AI. You alluded to this already, saying, AI can make us lazy, and you spoke about you basically believe whatever is being churned out to you because when you think about the ease with which AI gives us information or how easy things can become, um, do you think there is a fear that AI can make us lazier towards other things in life which are not so convenient, right? But there are things in life which are not inherently convenient. For example, um, having a conversation with your partner where they're sitting on the other side of the conversation that has emotional labor associated with it. Whether it comes to parenting, that's again not convenient. Do you think that if there's so much AI pervasive in our lives that you just get used to things being so frictionless?
I think another way to look at it is if your tasks are being automated with AI with ease, then maybe you are getting the time and resources to focus on parenting or talking to your partner
Right,
or things that you want to focus on, whether that's gardening or farming
right.
or painting. That's one point of view to look at what AI can help us achieve as a society. Now, obviously, the other point is because the current state of technology is such that it just repeats whatever it thinks will please you.
Yes.
It's very easy to go down a rabbit hole which is meant to please you.
Yeah.
That can be a very, very negative psychological effect on society.
Definitely, one of the angles that I wanted to talk to you about is that even when I, let's say, put up an article or whatever else that I do, and I'm asking it to give it its point of view or asking to summarize it, it typically ends up saying this is very thoughtful, etc., etc., etc. It does have a very clear tendency of being the yes man, which I guess one has to sort of be aware of. Real people will have different points of views, and that's healthy. Like you're having a debate, you're having a conversation, and your thinking is expanding. Versus with AI, if it's just sort of saying yes to everything you're saying, then it becomes so much more convenient to hang out with a digital buddy, so to speak. And I think there have been numbers which indicate that a lot of AI is being used for therapy, for companionship, and What are your views on that?
So the parallel to this is when Facebook or social media came out. There were a lot of online chats, and people would just chat with random people that they didn't know
Yeah.
whether or not they were real people or not,
Yeah.
right? And I think with AI, that has just scaled exponentially.
Right.
You're talking to a bot that feels like a person because it is so fluent, and it can show that emotion, or at least like
Pretend.
it can very easily lead you to believe that you're again just repeating your own thoughts back to
Yeah.
you. I think from a very, very fundamental perspective, that's just Darwin's principle. The point I'm trying to make is people need to be aware of what their own beliefs are and what the reality is. Otherwise, again, if you blur the line between technology and society and humanity, then technology will win. And I don't think as a society we want that. Technology is good to the point where it helps humanity, not to
Right.
the point where it can overtake humanity for whatever reason it may be.
Like you said, it's survival of the fittest. People who know of these watchouts, they are safer and who can
Mhm.
probably use AI the right way, versus people who
Right.
don't know these things are much more vulnerable, and therefore like, there needs to be some effort just calling out that these are some of the things that you need to be able to watch out, because like you were saying, the tide can actually become bigger, where it's actually doing more harm than good for people who don't know what's the right way to leverage AI. Another thing that
Yep.
you mentioned early on in the conversation was average, right? Let's say I have a vague idea and I feed that into AI to figure out what are the connections I'm trying to make, and then through a stitched idea. It's not the best, maybe, but given where I
Mhm.
started, which was a very half baked sort of a thing, the output is often a delight because you've not had to put anything in that. Do you think that's another fear, that there'll be a bunch of mediocre stuff just floating around because the amount of effort needed to sort of churn that out is so low, and it seems okay?
Self awareness kicks in. Are you using AI to please yourself, or are you using AI to be as a constructive feedback, and you're actually asking the tough questions, right? And I think knowing how to use AI, knowing where to use AI, and again, it all goes back to understanding the problem that you're looking to solve. If you think the problem is yourself, then that's a very dark space to be in. Um, versus if you're looking to solve a school assignment, and I think that's totally fine. I think that's where that line needs to be drawn on who, how, where, and what are you using AI for. And again, I do want to caution that we are probably in the first 5-7% of AI development today. There's a lot more research, there's a lot more things that AI can do. AI today, from a technical standpoint, is just literally just accumulating knowledge and giving you access to it. What the real capabilities of AI should be and would be are actually doing things in the physical space around us. That's not just text, that's more, think of it as a pseudo human
Yeah.
itself, where it can see, it can hear, it can walk, it can talk, like all of those things. So I think we're at the infancy of what AI can be as a pseudo human being, and there's a lot more development to come in, for better or for worse. But that's the reality where we're headed.
Yeah. It sounds quite overwhelming, to be honest, to think that there could be something that's sort of walking and talking around, and it could almost redefine what it is to be human. I think the underscoring around that is mediocrity. How are you adding nuance to what AI can already do crazy speeds?
I've been thinking about this point
Yeah,
where we have thousands of students taking the same classes, taking the same coursework, graduating from schools and colleges and universities
yeah.
around the globe. I think what differentiates everyone is the individuality and their own point of view that they bring in. You have a million tax consultants around the globe.
Yeah.
You have a million doctors around the globe. Maybe all like million dentists or million heart surgeons or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone has their own specialty, even though they've gone through very similar training. But that individual instinct, that individual's own way of thinking about a problem,
Mm-hmm.
I think that value combined with AI
Mm-hmm.
is a lot more powerful. If you're playing a sport against another human being, everyone knows the sport has the same rules,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're not
Yeah.
individualized or personalized to a person,
Yeah.
but still there is that character that a player brings in
Yeah.
with respect to how he or she plays against the other person.
Yeah.
And I think all of this is to say that combined with AI, this can be a very powerful force, if you will, in terms of how humanity can really shape up
Yeah.
and accelerate the development of whether that's uh, drugs against certain diseases or new materials or fight to get to space faster or other things. And I think that's the so even though we I mean, I called out the average person or the mediocrity that's around us as a society, but I think it's people realizing that there exists their own self that they should be empowering with AI rather than depending on AI. And I think that's where mediocrity or an average person by distance don't matter, but it's how they use the resources that are available to them
Yeah.
again to solve a problem that they want to solve. So I think that's the fun that I'm looking forward to.
It's quite poetic, actually. If you think about what you're saying, you're essentially saying you're talking about character building. It is almost like how do you become more human so that AI adds value versus trying to be more industrial and churning out stuff. So it's about how do you bring your
Yeah.
uniqueness, how what is developing your own point of view. We spoke about kids leveraging AI for doing assignments, and I
Mhm.
believe there's been a paper from MIT. If you're using AI right from the beginning, it's showing that there's lesser personal connection with the content that you're churning out. You are not retaining what you've written. So again, when it comes to students, when it comes to kids, what do you think is the right time to introduce AI?
I mean, that's a very tough question. I think it all depends on is it going to be adding value to what a student is learning or what a kid is learning? Whether that value is accelerated learning, whether that value is breadth or depth of learning what they are already studying, or is it more of uh, like a smart speaker sitting in your home that you're asking your kid to interact with? I think parents need to be cognizant enough with respect to their kids saying that the smart speaker is not a real person. And you want to make sure that your kids know that. But apart from that, I think eventually that will happen. And where even with kids, AI is there. And there's a right or wrong answer around it.
Yeah,
It's just about being self aware and making sure that kids understand the difference between reality and fantasy.
yeah. Great, Sahil. Any closing thoughts that you might have on what lies ahead?
I think, as with any technology, AI is something that you should look at as what it is, a technology to
Right.
solve a problem that needs to be solved, not as a solution to every problem that exists out there. And as long as we can do that, as long as we can understand uh, what are the limitations of a technology, whatever the technology that it may be, I think we'll be fine.
Thanks so much, Sahil. This is a lovely chat.
Tuning in. I look forward to your comments and feedback. Before you go, can I ask for a favor? If you like the show, would you consider subscribing? It's an easy way to support us, and we promise to keep doing what we're doing and try and do even better. Thank you.